Sup, Dad?
Welcome to This Dad Reads, a pop culture podcast on books, shows, games, and all things nerdy. This Dad is back with another episode. Welcome to all of my listeners out there today. Glad to have you all back. It's always a good day when a new Star Wars book is out in the world, and today, November 11th, the date of the release of this podcast episode, Master of Evil by Adam Christopher, the newest Star Wars novel, is out in the world, and I had the pleasure of recently sitting down and chatting with Adam all about this book. We dove really deep and we avoided all spoilers, so feel free to listen to your heart's content as you dive into the book. I am going to get into that conversation with Adam in just a little bit, but before I do, I wanted to dive into all of the books that I have read since my last episode. Well, it is fitting that one of the books that I read since my last episode was Star Wars Master of Evil by Adam Christopher himself. I am not going to talk too much about it right now because he and I dive into it at length in our interview today, but I also wrote my full review on thisdadreads.com. Long story short, I enjoyed this book, and as you will hear Adam say, this book is about Darth Vader, but Darth Vader is not the only central character. That's all I will say for now. So definitely go check that book out and let me know your thoughts when you do. I continued on my Michael Connelly read-along with my wife. We finished Fair Warning, which is a Jack McAvoy novel. He is the reporter in the Connelly universe. Really, really thrilling and just so intense of a book. I couldn't wait for us to get to this one because I remembered how intense it gets at the end. If you know, you know. We also read The Dark Hours, which is a Ballard and Bosch novel. And we also read Desert Star, which is another Ballard and Bosch novel. I cannot believe that we are basically catching up to all of Michael Connelly's books. We're going to finish them all before the year's over. So it's been so much fun. I honestly don't know what we're going to do when it's all over because it's been just kind of our thing. Every night we're just like reading so much and talking about these books. It's been so much fun. So definitely open to suggestions if there's other couples out there who do reads together. She is definitely into this kind of thriller vibe, crime fiction, legal fiction, thrillers. So I'm debating whether to jump into Mistborn with her because I think she might really enjoy that. But that's an issue for another time. Speaking of Mistborn, I finished Shadows of Self, which is the third book in the Mistborn era 2, and I am well into finishing The Lost Metal, which is the final book in the Mistborn era 2. I have been loving this era. I've heard from so many people how good it is and how fun, and I was like, it's gonna be hard to top era 1, and really liked Stormlight Archive, but I have really grown to love Wax and Wayne and Marasi and Steris and all of the characters just in this world, and I feel the Sanderlanche hitting with this final book right now, and I just feel all the other Cosmere connections. So again, it's been so much fun, and I cannot wait to have all of the Cosmere books under my belt before Dragonsteel Nexus in early December. And finally, thanks to my friends at Penguin Random House Audio, I listened to the audiobook of What If Loki Was Worthy, part of the Marvel's What If series by Madeline Rue. And I, first of all, was excited to read something by Madeline because she was announced earlier this year to be authoring a Star Wars book next year. But I was also gifted from Random House Worlds a whole set of this What If series, and so I was really excited to see that they were on the Penguin Random House app that I have that I use audiobooks for. So it's been a nice way to kind of put something different in my ears while I'm commuting every day, and I'm actually currently reading the second one, which is all about Venom and Moon Knight. Been a really fun series, and I was actually really excited to read the Loki one because my son and I had just finished watching Thor, so a lot of that was right fresh in my mind, and I'm actually just currently peer pressuring him into reading this book too because I think he would really enjoy it. Well, after this quick break, I'm going to be talking all things Master of Evil with Adam Christopher, so stay right here. This episode is brought to you by Level 8, creators of sleek, durable luggage designed for every kind of traveler. Their Roadrunner carry-on served me super well this summer during my convention trips. It's roomy, it's smooth rolling, and tough enough to handle airports, hotels, and everything in between. And as we are now into the fall season, it is still my go-to piece. Whether it's a quick family trip, a book event, or just a weekend getaway, the Roadrunner is ready for another season of travel. The TSA locks on this thing keep everything secure. My kids especially love that. And the build quality is top notch. There's no flimsy wheels or cracked handles here. This Dad Read listeners can get 10% off their next purchase at level8cases.com with code level8read10. That's level8read10 for 10% off anything from Level 8, your perfect companion for summer, fall, and every trip in between. Joining me today is another first-time guest to the show. He's written for IPs like World of Warcraft, Doctor Who, Stranger Things, and of course Star Wars. And his newest book from the galaxy far, far away, Master of Evil, is out everywhere today. It's Adam Christopher. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you kidding me? I'm so excited to have you on.
Oh man, what
We
a
have
day.
chatted multiple times. We met at Star Wars Celebration. I want to say like 3 years ago. So we've
Oh
interacted a few
yeah.
times here and there, and I'm just so glad to actually have you on and have an extended chat.
Yeah. Was it really 2022? Was that
2022, isn't that wild?
was that Anaheim?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that was my first one.
Mine
Yeah.
too. Mine too.
Oh, well there we go.
It was so fun. I can't wait for 2027. Are you gonna try to be there again?
Yeah. Oh, it's the 50th anniversary. It's like how can
We
I
have to
not?
go. We have to
Yeah, how
go.
can I not go? Oh my goodness.
I know. The whole Star Wars book community has to be there. I'm already
Mm.
rallying all my online friends. Like, come on, guys, we got to
It's
be
gonna
there.
be yeah, it's gonna be very good.
So fun. So today is the release day of your newest book. Not only just a new book, but a Star Wars book at that. Master of Evil is out everywhere today. How are you feeling? Like, how does it feel to have a new Star Wars book that you wrote out into the world?
Um, it's kind of well, okay, it's exciting, obviously, but also it's very nerve-wracking. Because it's a Star Wars book, and like I love Star Wars, and I love writing Star Wars, and a lot of people like reading Star Wars. So to finally have it out, it's really exciting, but also, yeah, it's sort of intense. The thing is, yeah, this is the culmination of 3 years of work. My first Star Wars novel came out in 2022. Yeah, June, I think. 3 years ago. And it was kind of like basically the day after that book was out, we started talking about Darth Vader. So,
Wow.
like, well, like, but any book takes, yeah, it's a whole process. It takes a while. Um, so finally the day arrives. And yeah, I'm managing, I think.
Okay.
You
Well,
know, it's good. Don't get me wrong. This is totally exciting. Like
yeah.
this is great. And I really look forward to it. But you have to be a little bit kind of nervous about it as well.
Sure. Well, I will speak on behalf of the at least the book side of the Star Wars community, and I think that everyone's excited. From all of the chatter I've heard, at least the cover of this thing is killing it.
Oh,
Like, and I know that I know a lot of people loved Shadow of the Sith, so I think they're just
mm.
excited for more stuff from you too. So I don't want to misrepresent the community, but I'm
Well,
gonna just speak on behalf of them and say everyone's
thank you.
excited.
Yeah, thanks very much. And also, like the cover, like it's it does so much work for me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's like when they sent it to me, I was just like, "Are you?" I like did like a double take on the email. I'm like, "This is the cover?" I'm like, what? Because it's so good,
Yeah.
um, and really sets the mood for the. Oh yeah, I was still writing the book when we had the cover. Like it kind of set the mood for when I was writing, and I think it sets the mood when you see it on the shelf.
100%. And it's like my favorite cover of all of the year,
It's
at
so
least of
good.
2025,
It
at least
is.
for a couple years. Yeah,
It's so good. Yeah.
I agree. Well, like you just said, your first Star Wars novel, Shadow of the Sith, came out 3 years ago now. Um, I how does it feel more specifically with this book? Like, how does this book feel different, or does it feel different at all to you? Is it the same type of nerves? Is it the same, like, or is there any different types of emotions floating around?
I mean, it's kind of the same, kind of different. Um, when Shadow of the Sith came out, I had written Star Wars before that. I'd done the short stories and I'd done that little Star Wars Adventures comic mini adventure. Um, and obviously, as all Star Wars authors are, really, most of them, like, I'm a kind of seasoned author. My first novel actually came out in 2011, so been doing it long enough that I kind of know the ropes and know how it all works. But writing a Star Wars novel was a dream come true in 2022, and it still is a dream come true in 2025 because, like, there is no other universe that is bigger or better than Star Wars. So I'm forever grateful and aware that it's a huge privilege to be able to write in the Star Wars universe. On the kind of practical level, it's like, okay, one book down, next book to do. Um, I'd learned a lot from Shadow of the Sith for sure. And but it's kind of weird. Like that book that's a Luke Skywalker book, and the second, so my first novel was a Luke Skywalker novel. My second novel was a Darth Vader novel. So it kind of, I've gotten over that fan thing in me of, oh my goodness, I'm writing Luke Skywalker or I'm writing Darth Vader. Sometimes it comes up because also that's important. I think it's important actually, having said that, I've just kind of like got over it. Like it's actually important to remember that because this is why I do what I do, and this is why people are going to read the book. It's like I love Darth Vader. I loved writing Darth Vader, and I hope people are going to love reading Darth Vader. It's a kind of weird thing. You've got the fan part of you, and you've got the professional writer part of you, and like sometimes they cross over, which is good, which you have to have, and then other times you've got to keep them separate, and get on with the job. But yeah, every book is a process and a journey, and every book that I've written a lot of books. Like each one is different.
Mm,
And yeah, absolutely, I learned stuff from Shadow of the Sith, but again, writing Master of Evil was in many ways a new experience.
sure. And I think that, as a fan, as a reader, as a reviewer, I so appreciate that perspective of that fan perspective because if you weren't a fan, then you wouldn't love what you're
Yeah,
doing or care as
yeah.
much, right? And so I feel
Well,
like
it's
it's so
like, yeah,
appreciated. Yeah,
this is why we do what we do. And
exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like, imagine not just Star Wars, but like pick a big property universe. Imagine trying to write a whole novel in something that not saying you dislike it or don't like it, but like that you don't have that kind of depth of knowledge.
Right.
Because it really would show very quickly. A novel is actually it's a big job and it's quite long. I mean, that sounds obvious, but like there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into the writing of a book that doesn't necessarily appear on the page. It's someone, a friend of mine, Gail Carriger, who's an author. She had this really cool theory about. She's talking about like commercial science fiction, like what makes a bestseller, or what makes another book not. And she talked about there's this something between the lines of the text. There's like this kind of X factor that you can't necessarily recognize or see, but you know it's there. And this is the same when I approach writing, tie-in licensed fiction like Star Wars, or like you mentioned at the beginning, I've done World of Warcraft, Doctor Who, Stranger Things. There's something about those things that you have to capture in the thing that you're doing, but it's not necessarily something that's going to leap out and grab you and slap you around the face. Say, this is a Star Wars book. You're reading Stranger Things now. Um, so yeah, this I think comes from that combo of like, this sounds so obvious, of like being a fan and also being a writer, but there's a balance between them, which I mean I've written quite a few times now. Like you learn that I think as well.
Yeah, it's a
There's,
skill, right?
well,
It's a skill
yeah,
you have to learn. Yeah,
there's a skill because as a fan, we love geeking out about stuff and
of
like
course.
just pick a topic and like we're the biggest nerds
Yes.
around. You have like, but you can't do that in a book.
Right.
Um, you have to remember who you're writing for and who's going to read it. And absolutely, you can do the deep nerd dive on something or the really obscure Easter egg or the wildest fan thing that you can put in, but without detracting from what has got to be a good story
Right.
that people can read and people can enjoy. And that whole thing of like, if you get the references, great, that's fun. If you don't get the references, doesn't matter at all.
Right.
And that's so important. You've got to be for everything that I do that is in another universe, that's like, not my own, what they call original fiction. Um, the whole idea is like you can walk into a bookstore, you like Star Wars, you walk into a bookstore, you look on the shelf, oh, Star Wars book, it's got Darth Vader on the cover, it's called Master of Evil. That's all you need to know. That's it. It's like, great. I love Darth Vader. I love Star Wars. I'll read that. With everything I do, I kind of go in with that mindset of like, absolutely, it's a lore heavy book that fits into a very particular part of the timeline, and it ties into comics and other books and TV and films and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, it's got to be a good book
Yeah.
that you can read and enjoy. It's entertainment.
100%. My next question is exactly about that specific part of the Star Wars timeline that you just mentioned. Why do you think that this particular part of Vader's life is just so fascinating? And if people aren't aware of where this book is set, if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, on some levels, this is kind of like the 20th anniversary book for Revenge of the Sith. In fact, we just had the Revenge of the Sith novelization, deluxe edition with annotations and everything come out a few weeks ago. Um, so this is so Master of Evil is set right after Revenge of the Sith. So a very early, well, the earliest version of Vader and of the Empire. Um, and it's just a really fascinating period of the Star Wars timeline because we have to realize is like it's not an instantaneous change from the Republic to the Empire. Even if it feels like that or seems like that sometimes, um, there's got to be this period of kind of transition. And I think one of the important things, and this comes across in things like the comics, especially, Charles Soule's comic, the 2017 Darth Vader covers the same kind of period. And my story kind of bounces off one of the issues and then goes off into like a new direction. Um, the whole thing of like the Emperor is here, and then suddenly there's this guy, this scary guy in a big cloak and mask, like by the Emperor's side. And if you think about it, like, who is he? Where did he come from? Nobody knows who he is. He's got access to the Emperor. He's really kind of formidable and powerful and mysterious and scary. And people are like, what the heck is going on? Like, nobody in the Imperial hierarchy, except for very few higher ups, know what's going on, know who he is. Um, which is kind of amazing considering that Darth Vader then, we've seen Anakin Skywalker's entire life, really. Because he's so fundamental to the Skywalker saga and is so fundamental to the version of Star Wars that we have now, it's amazing to think that within the story canon, there's got to be this period where like he's this guy that shows up. So it's like it's really fascinating. We don't see it much, and one of the things about Vader is like his presence is so powerful, but like how does it become so powerful? It's powerful for us as like fans. And this goes back to A New Hope, like the very first scene, stormtroopers blast into the ship and Vader storms in and his hands on hips and looking around and like it's kind of weird if you think about it because he actually looks kind of weird and he's got the mechanical breathing and he's like really tall. I mean, wrong generation, but I don't know what people thought when that scene came on the screen. But it's the same to me. It's like it's the same kind of thing. It's like if you imagine yourself at the dawn of the empire, and like things have changed. Okay, things have changed very quickly, absolutely.
Hmm. Hmm.
But also, it's not just a flip a switch and it's suddenly it's the empire. Um, and if you're one of these higher ups, and this is one of the characters that kind of comes in, one of the main point of view characters, um, Goth, yeah, Howland Goth, he's commander of the Royal Guard. Like if you're this guy and you've come in thinking that you kind of know what's happening, that you're pleased with what's happening, the Republic's gone finally, Jedi history, good because they were hopeless. So now we've got an empire and it's going to be like peace and prosperity and you need a strong hand to rule the galaxy because it's a big place. And then he's confronted with Darth Vader. And I mean, this is not really a spoiler, but obviously at some point in the book, Goth is like, okay, what's going on? He sees Vader ignite his lightsaber. Now, for us, it's like, well, yes, Darth Vader's got a lightsaber.
It's
But
a
for Goth,
lightsaber, yeah.
but for Goth, it's like,
Wait,
wait a second here. Yeah, the Jedi are dead. Like they're dead. The lightsabers were burned. They were collected and burned. What is going on? I thought the Empire was gonna change all this. Why is the Emperor hanging out with this guy? Is this guy a Jedi? He's got a lightsaber. Why has he got a lightsaber? So those kind of questions are really fascinating, and I think you can tell that story at this particular point in the Star Wars timeline.
yeah, I totally agree. And I don't think I realized before I dove into this book that I was going to be so fascinated by that aspect of it. Like I work a regular 9 to 5, like I have a corporate America job. So it kind of reminded me a little bit like, wait, who, like the new guy comes, if like,
Yeah.
imagining if a new guy came and he's, yeah, I mean, granted, my nine to
Well,
five is a different vibe, but it's like,
yeah,
you have a lightsaber
slightly
and
different.
it's red? Like, where did the red one come from? Like, what?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can imagine that's like literally, yeah. I mean, yeah, you walk into your job and you have a meeting, and suddenly there's this new guy standing by the boss, and you're like, wearing a funny mask. And you're
Yeah.
like, wait, what's happening?
Who's really loud
Um,
breathing and like maybe has force
yeah,
powers? Like,
yeah. So you can imagine like a lot of people are very confused, but they're also kind of scared. And
right.
especially like our point of view character Goth, one of the point of view characters,
Hmm.
from his point of view, this is like everything has changed great. And then suddenly it's like, wait, things are way more complicated than I thought they were.
Right.
And that's part of his journey in the book is getting answers to some of those questions or trying to find those answers.
Yeah.
Whether he gets them or not, I won't
Yeah.
spoil.
Yeah. Let's talk about Goth a little bit more. This
Hmm.
wasn't part of my question in this part, but like he was fascinating to me as well. There's really almost like a split POV in this book. Like Vader's on the cover, yes, but Howland Goth has a really big part and has a main
Hmm.
POV, which I think can sometimes throw people in terms of expectations. But for me, I thought he was fascinating, and he has his own. I don't want to spoil too much either, but I feel like his motivations are just so interesting, and they line up with Vader a little bit. And so tell me a
Hmm.
little bit more about like exploring and having one of the main POVs be a character that most people might not even know.
Yeah, so the thing about Master of Evil, like it's a book about Darth Vader. Um, and Darth Vader is absolutely the main character, and we have his point of view. But one of the important things about Vader is how other people see him.
Mm,
I mean, this whole uh, mystique or influence and presence within the Empire is almost entirely based on how other people see him. Like, this is why the Emperor put him in the armor that looks like that, because like it's all about power and appearance. I think there's even a line. Well, yeah, in fact, there is because like Goth is the commander of the Royal Guard, and if the Royal Guard wear those ceremonial red, with long weird helmets with the cloaks, and like there's a line where Goth is like, yeah, because appearances are everything. Um, and there's a very deliberate reason why the Royal Guard look like that. So there's a very deliberate reason why Vader looks like he does.
hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's interesting. Goth is in Revenge of the Sith. Um, well, which is yeah, it reminds me a little bit. This is going to be very secular. It reminds me a little bit of Shadow of the Sith, where I created Dathan and Miramir, who are
Hmm.
Rey's parents. The book is about them, and I named them, which is amazing. and it's like my one contribution to Star Wars. It's like
No.
I named Rey's parents. Now, and I created them and their personalities and everything they did, and the whole story of Rey and what happened. Except they are in the Rise of Skywalker. Like you see them in the Rise of Skywalker. So I didn't actually create them; they already existed. But at the same time, I created them, except they already existed. So it's kind of the circular thing. So
What came
goth is
first?
another, yeah, it's almost like and goth actually reminds me almost like a from a certain point of view type
Yes. Yes.
concept because turns out that famous conversation between Palpatine and Anakin when he tells them the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. In the booth in the opera house, there's a royal guard standing in the background. Now, I didn't notice this for a long time. I know you see a shot, there's two royal guards, and the senators, his guests,
Hmm.
and Anakin comes in. Now, Palpatine tells the others to get out, and I thought, yeah, okay, get out, just a conversation with the two of them. But then watching it back, I was like, wait a second, there's still a royal guard standing in the back. So my theory was, well, the other royal guard, the second one, escorts the rest of them out as they would
Mm.
do. Like that's the whole thing. But one is left to look after Palpatine. And it's no spoiler, I don't think. The Master of Evil begins with that conversation because Goth, one of our main characters, was there and he heard it. And just the fact that he was there and he heard it then leads him to all kinds of theories about what's going on. Um, and about what he thinks about Vader and the Emperor. And, there's a whole thing of like secret identities and
Mm.
what really happened to the Jedi, um, and what is actually going on. So, yeah, Goth is one of these things. I created Goth, but he's kind of what he's always been there. Except he wasn't really, except he was. Except he wasn't really. So it's like you can just go and, yeah, like it's a
Yeah.
real, yeah, headache. Um, But so the point being, the book is about Vader as well as being a book with Vader in it. So Vader's impact on those around him is hyper important in Star Wars. So I needed a character to carry the story. I needed a character to carry the story when Vader wasn't there,
Mm. Hmm.
which is important. So it was Goth. And having someone with such a close connection to that level of the Empire. He's a Royal Guard. The commander of the Royal Guard. Was key because it can get him very close to Vader for a variety of reasons. In the book, there's a couple of reasons why he's close to Vader.
Hmm.
But also, it's interesting. You mentioned like his kind of his character's journey. There's a lot of parallels with Vader, and especially what Goth is ultimately looking for.
Right.
And it's almost one of those things where you don't realize what you're writing until you write it. And it was only
Mm.
afterwards where I realized that actually Vader and Goth are looking for similar things.
Mm.
And they both do get answers, which like it's the whole thing of like story is based on character, and characters have to change.
Hmm.
Otherwise, what's the point of telling the story?
Right.
So Goth and Vader are looking for an external answer to some question. And what they both discover, and this is not a spoiler because this is just how stories work,
Hmm.
they both discover that the answer is probably within themselves. But they have to go on a journey to
Mm.
discover that truth, um, which sounds very deep and pretentious, but that's how it
No,
is.
it's true. And then I was going to go even a step further and say, then it's all about the choice that they each make, right?
Exactly.
Which
Yeah.
determines the path and their path forward.
That's absolutely right. And like the thing with Vader is we know where
We
he
know
ends
what
up.
he
We know
chooses.
we
Yeah.
know what happens next. And we know but it's like because he's at this point in, this is like 19 BBY.
Hmm.
Um, there's basically all of Darth Vader ahead of us at this
Yes.
point.
Yes.
So knowing what happens, and also there's things like the comics and things like the Vader Immortal video game. We know what he does later, but like, what
Hmm.
are the foundations of that? Like, what is the starting point
Right.
that he makes a decision, you're right, about what path he's going to take and where that will lead.
Hmm.
And where it leads, we already know because we've
Hmm.
seen some of it. So that's the thing on Vader's side. Goth's side is like, well, obviously Goth is not a character we've met before.
Right.
So we don't know what his future is. So his decision is then becomes kind of equally important, but for different
Yeah.
reasons. Like we know, we find out what Vader's decision is, and then we go, oh yeah, okay. Then that suddenly, like the pieces of the puzzle click into place to where Vader then goes later. For
Yeah.
Goth, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, well, Goth is like he needs to come to some realizations
Right.
about
Yeah.
about what he's like, and like a realization of himself and like what he
Hmm.
has decided on, and was that the right thing to do, or was it the wrong thing to do? Because although is he a he's a bad guy because he's Imperial, but maybe there's something within him that, without spoiling anything, that we can empathize with.
Yeah.
We can understand his position, and
Yep.
then we can understand the decisions that he makes.
Yeah. And I
I mean,
would
it's
say
tricky,
too,
but yeah.
as me as a, my own perspective coming into it, I'm a 42-year-old male with some life still ahead of me, but it's like I just related to him so much because I'm trying not to spoil anything. Man, we need to have a spoiler-filled conversation
Oh,
maybe later, but he
yeah,
was so relatable to me, and I think people of a certain age range might relate
right,
to him more than
yeah,
others.
yeah.
So, I don't
Well, it's
know.
funny because like I mean, I yeah, he's kind of mid 40s. I can't remember if it's actually in the book. Like, he's a senior officer. He's a
Yeah.
commander now, and he was in
Yeah.
the Coruscant Home Defense Force. So he's decorated as well. It's like he's had a career.
Yeah. He just feels like
Um,
a real guy. I guess that's what I'm saying. He feels like a real
mm,
galactic citizen with like a real
yeah,
job, with real problems and real life going on. And so I feel like maybe
this
that's
is
why I
yeah.
related to it. And it just feels
Well,
so
that's
the
yeah,
humanity of it was so
yeah.
good. So good.
Well, and I love the fact like it's him, and he has a droid
Yes.
TC-99.
Yes. Oh, so
Um,
precious.
the
Yes.
two of them is like the best experience writing them, because I love them.
I
There's
think
as
everybody
as a
does
as
too.
a pair,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Anyway, but also so like heartbreaking in a sense too. Like I don't know, it's so good.
yeah.
It's so good. So we
Spoilers.
were spoiling. We're spoiling. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this already, but Master of Evil to me also has a really interesting mix of characters and motivations. We talked about a couple of them already here because we've got Palpatine and the Sith in the mix.
Mm.
We've got Imperials in the mix. We've got clones in the mix still. Non-Republic galactic citizens. So talk to me about this like confluence of characters and like kind of what was challenging and exciting exploring this kind of part of the Star Wars era.
Yeah, and it goes back to this thing of like, at this point in time, it's not just an instant flip from the Republic to the Empire. So you've got clones still. You've got a lot of clones.
Yep.
Um, and we know what happens to the clones, and we know, the, the difference between clone troopers and stormtroopers that come later. Um, especially things like the 501st, um, they're such an important part of a lot of the Star Wars timeline, both sort of Republic and Imperial. So it's like, yeah, I can kind of play with that because we've got this transition period, so like I can do some cool things. Um, and also I like the idea that the galaxy is really big. Um, there's a thing in Star Wars, you try and avoid the small galaxy syndrome. Whereas, the Republic and the Empire are the Republic and the Empire are very, very big, but the galaxy is bigger. And there's a couple of characters that come into Master of Evil who are kind of from the outskirts of that. Um, they're completely aware of what's going on and what's happening, but from a kind of distance. They're like, you guys settle your squabble, whatever, we're just going to get on with what we're doing. So that's kind of fun to have that, I don't know, sideways perspective on it. Like they're not on anybody's side, um, but they're still kind of technologically advanced enough to take part in galactic affairs. But the Republic left them alone, the Empire's going to leave them alone, maybe. So yeah, it's just, yeah, like you say, a confluence of different things. because we can go for we can have Imperial stuff. We've got the ISB and we've got Compnor and Palpatine, but we've also got clone troopers
Yeah.
and the kind of the old world that still remains. Like even when I was writing it, making sure I was getting the starships right for the period because it's like it's not just and now we've got Star Destroyers and TIE fighters. There's a mix of things,
Hmm.
which we see in the movies, absolutely, and we see in the TV and stuff. But like you gotta make sure you kind of get that kind of thing right. Like the shuttles. Oh my goodness, the conversations about shuttles. Well, because Vader has a shuttle and Goth has a shuttle and the Emperor's got a shuttle and like what kind of shuttle is it? And have they made that model yet? And does he use this one? Yeah. Um, so it's complicated, but this is the thing. We're Star Wars fans, and like we
Yeah.
could talk about shuttles all day long.
And I think it's what you said. It's just fun. Like I think that so many Star Wars fans who are so connected to all the different ways that stories are told will really enjoy kind of like hanging out in this time because there, yeah, people who love Clone Wars, who love, I mean, there's so
Mm.
many, even like, and original trilogy, like there's so much just mixed in, and it's just really fun.
Yeah, yeah, and like there's actually thinking about it. Yeah, Goth. I say Goth is technically in Revenge of the Sith. There's some
Mm,
other bits of connection with Revenge of the Sith that I managed to get in um, for fun, but also they make sense within the story.
sure.
Uh, you know, in the back of my mind, it was like, oh, if this book comes out in 2025, then it is going to be 20 years. So, tried to squeeze in a few connections.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. Well, like you said before, like I know books, period, but like Star Wars books come with so much research and thought and process behind, just the words that are on the page. And you mentioned this too, and you thank Charles Soule in the book for the work he did on the Vader title in comics. Um,
Mm.
but talk to me a little bit more about what your research process kind of looked like for this book.
Well, I mean, the first thing was being a Revenge of the Sith. It's not an official Revenge of the Sith anniversary book, but it's going to be, it's 20 years. So,
Yeah.
like, it had to be very close to Revenge of the Sith, especially for the kind of Vader story I wanted to tell. Now, there are a lot of comics around this period, in particular, Charles Soule's 2017 Darth Vader. So, the first thing I did was like reread that. And as I kind of read it through straight and then reread it and started to build a timeline. And I think I mentioned this at Star Wars Celebration Japan, where I just had so many spreadsheets of stuff, like breaking it down, not just storyline by storyline, but issue by issue, and then page by page, and then it got to the point where I was like zoning in on where my story was going to fit, and it's like okay, panel by panel,
Wow, that's cool.
because. Like I've kind of joked about this, like I found a gap in one of the comics. But it's like I don't think Charles knows it's there. I don't think anyone there's a gap in this story where I can fit in a whole book and nobody knows it's there. But like I was like
Until
I had to
now.
make sure. So I was like, I I mapped it all out. Um, which is kind of fun to do.
That is so fun. Yeah.
And like thinking, hey, this is my job. I get to do this. Um, which is like the privilege we get. So yeah, so then it was you know, the important thing about tie-in fiction of any kind is like getting characters right, and
Mhm.
especially this is a Darth Vader book. So it's like you got to get Darth Vader right. So then it was like, I've been watching the movies and everything since I was technically 6 months old, but that doesn't count. Um, but it was then just like re-watching Vader
Mhm.
in every kind of form. Coming to the weird realization that, like in the original trilogy, he's got something like 32 minutes of screen time
Mhm. Mhm.
across the three movies. And yet, if you go back to the when they came out and the huge kind of cultural
Mhm.
bombshell that those movies were, and the impact that Vader made in 35 minutes or 32 minutes, whatever it is. I mean, that is just wild. Um, So yeah, and so it's like if you're going to sustain, you have to sustain a book over a long, it's 100,000 words more or less, 400 pages or whatever. You got to sustain character over that length
Mm,
of time, and especially characters that people have loved for, in this case, nearly 50 years.
right. Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it was the same with Shadow of the Sith. It's like this Luke Skywalker and Lando Calrissian. It's like, well, people have lived with those characters for nearly 50 years.
Hmm.
So you've got to get it right. Like that is number one priority.
Yeah. And I would say
Um,
too, on the flip side of that, there's a whole generation now who they are more loving and drawn to Anakin. So I'm assuming you did similar Anakin research too, right? Because there's going to be a
yeah,
whole
yeah,
population of people who are going to like feel that, right? The pre-Vader stuff.
yeah. Sorry, this is actually hilarious. You're probably going to cut this out. I've got a Revenge of the Sith poster on my wall in a frame, and it's just now moved, and it's
Oh no,
almost fall. It's like it's going to fall off the wall.
it knows.
Let me just
Okay,
have a
go. Yeah,
break.
go
Hang
for it.
on. This is like,
I don't want to cut this. This is.
that is so wild. This is how you can see it. Press it down. It's enormous. It's
Oh
upside
wow.
down.
Okay.
It's like,
Oh, the new. Oh, the is that the Japanese version? Oh, I
yeah.
love it. So good. So I'll use this on social. I'll use this video part. We'll put this part on social.
Okay. I just started talking about Darth Vader, and he jumps off the wall.
He knows that we're
Yeah,
talking about him.
he
Yeah.
knows. That's a sign. Um, Getting back to what you're saying, Anakin Skywalker. Yes. So what I thought was interesting was the Obi-Wan TV series.
Mm,
For me, was the first time we got a really strong representation of the fact that Anakin and Vader are the same person. Because for a long time, I've found it difficult to kind of reconcile the two,
okay. Yeah.
especially with
Fair.
things like the Clone Wars animated series, because suddenly we have a lot of Anakin Skywalker being a good guy. Um, so to try and kind of fit all that in, and the deep voice of James Earl Jones
Mm-hmm.
is also Hayden Christensen
Right.
slash the guy they cut out of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that was useful because it's like, yeah, actually, this is especially the kind of we see it a lot in maybe animated
Yes.
comics
Yep.
as well. When you get like Vader's helmet is damaged and you can see the face underneath, and it's a very dramatic moment. But
Right.
seeing it in kind of live action in Obi-Wan was really helpful. And I think you can sense again because it's Hayden Christensen. There's a something about the performance in that series which
Mm-hmm.
is like it's Anakin under there.
Yeah.
I mean it's Darth Vader.
Sure.
Anakin is well, yeah. Is Anakin dead
Is he?
at
Yeah.
this point?
Exactly. Is
Yeah, it's
Anakin
like
the
at what point does Anakin actually die, as
right?
they say in the
But he's
universe?
still a relatively like young man still. It's he's not
Oh,
like,
that's the other thing. Yeah,
right? It's just so weird. When you think Vader, you think like this, I think like an
yeah.
older guy, right? Like he's way younger
Well,
than Goth, I would assume. Like at least 10
actually,
years.
that's a very good point. Probably by 10 years. I mean, yeah, if you take the age of like how old was Hayden Christensen when he filmed Revenge of the Sith, well, that's how old Vader is.
Yeah.
Garth is in his, he's a seasoned veteran
Right.
and he's in his 40s. He's got to be 10 years older than Vader.
Yeah, and then this young buck just comes up and is at the top and
Yeah, it's like, that's not fair.
but I guess
How's this
that
happening?
he has the Vader, you can't tell how old he is, but we know how old he is, but anyway.
Well, but this is the thing of like Vader going back to the original trilogy and like saying what was the impact of his first appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's got a, and this is the amazing thing about Star Wars as a whole, which is something that you can never predict or design or whatever. Like it has a timeless quality that is a result of all the different elements that came together to make the movie. Like it's very clearly a movie now made in 1977
Sure.
for a lot of reasons,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's channeling something else, which is like the kind of magic of the magic of movie making, but like something about what George Lucas was doing. And the thing about Vader is that he's timeless
Yeah.
and like as you point out, kind of ageless
Mm-hmm.
because you don't see his face. He's got a deep voice. It's all very disguised. He looks just like nothing else. Which again, probably slightly the wrong generation. We have to remember that. In writing Master of Evil, I was like, Vader is like nothing else. He's so pervasive now, and everybody knows exactly who he is and what he sounds like and what he looks like and all that stuff. But go back to take all that away, strip it all away, go back to the beginning. He's like nothing else, and he's really scary and really weird, and that informed so much of what went into Master of Evil, especially from Goth's point of view.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but you're right. It's this thing, Anakin and Vader, and this is weird. He's a young man. He is. He's young. It's
Yeah.
like yeah.
He's probably not 30. I mean, I'm just guessing. I don't
Need
know
to
what his age is supposed to be. I don't have Wikipedia up in front of me, but I
yeah,
would
and then
think,
also like you think of especially like talk about young Vader. Think of Anakin in Revenge of the Sith and
yeah.
how he behaves.
Yep. The maturity level.
Ver yeah, versus when we see Vader way down the
Yep.
line, especially like Return of the Jedi, where he's fatherly because he's like he calls Luke son, and
Right.
he's very kind of quiet and still imposing and impressive, but he's got this kind of quietness to him.
Yeah.
Whereas he gets into Obi-Wan, he's really angry at points
Yeah. Right.
because he's like at his peak. And
Right.
so Master of Evil is the kind of the first step on the journey towards that. Because like I said at the beginning, we know where he goes and
Right.
what happens to his character. Um, so this is kind of like how do I point him in that direction?
Sure. Well, if people haven't gathered about why you are excited or why I think this book is good from this conversation yet, what is there anything else that you're just excited for people to discover? Maybe not just about Vader, but about this universe with Master of Evil.
That's a really good question. It's kind of like it's a book about a lot of things. One of the weird things it's about maybe is friendship. Um, you know, Goth and TC99, um, they kind of took on a life of their own, and like I really love them a lot, and I'm really excited for people to meet them. Um, yeah, like this is almost like yeah, aside from Vader and everything that's going on, their story is really it's kind of nice in a
Yeah.
way. It sounds weird, like but I think if you read the book, you'll see.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, it is also kind of tragic. Spoiler. Um, uh, but yeah, and like I really kind of people have already pointed this out that I do a lot of dark side stuff. I love the kind of mysticism of the dark side, the way that the Sith see the Force
Mm,
versus how the Jedi see the Force is
hmm.
quite, to me, I think it's quite different. A lot of
Right.
people have different interpretations, and this is the amazing thing. You can put your own kind of perspective on it, but um, it's a you look at the cover, it's a kind of dark, scary book, and to be able to kind of dive into that side of the Force and the galaxy, um, is pretty good too.
Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
special. Like I think it's really special, and I think people are going to be surprised and delighted by what they might not be expecting with this book. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very yeah, and like it's thank you. It's a book about Darth Vader.
Hmm.
That's kind of the crux of it. But
Yeah.
whether that is from Darth Vader's point of view, whether it's from the point of view of other
Yeah.
people, like it's all about him. And it's interesting that when he's not on the page, it's almost like that acts to refocus on him.
Mm,
He's a presence even when he's not there,
right.
which I think there's so few characters I can think of in any kind of pop culture phenomenon that have that power,
Yeah.
which is what makes Vader Vader.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't think of a better way to to wrap that up. Well, I know you get a little bit of a break after the Master of Evil kind of promo engine dies down, but in early 2026, you already have another book coming out next year.
Oh yeah.
I saw it's coming from Tor, right? Crawl
Hmm.
Space. It looks
Yes.
really fun. I wanted to talk about that because I know you talked about, the
Yeah.
practical side of writing books, but you have another book coming out. Tell us about Crawl
Hmm.
Space.
Yeah, so Crawl Space is from Tor Nightfire. It's a science fiction horror novel about the crew of a ship that they're going on a test flight, and it goes wrong. Um, that's it basically. That's the
Okay.
story. It goes
Perfect.
a spacecraft test flight that goes wrong. I've written science fiction horror tinge stuff before. I had a book called The Burning Dark a while ago, which is also Tor. Um, I think horror is a kind of like it's not well, it's a genre, but like it's also like this kind of like a flavor you can
Mm,
apply to other kinds of stories. Like you can have a science fiction horror story. It's still science fiction. And I guess it's horror, but like
but
you can
scary.
kind of it's yeah, like what's scary science fiction?
Yeah.
Things like Alien. Yeah, is the movie Alien a horror movie, or is
Right.
it a science fiction movie, or
Yeah.
is it kind of both? So yeah, that's the kind of vibe I was going for, kind of claustrophobic and small and scary, and it's got a really cool cover as
I
well.
agree. I was just gonna say that.
I've
Like
been
the
so
cover.
lucky.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's so good. The cover already sold me. I'm hoping to read that one early
just
and review it. So it looks so good.
oh, thank you. Yeah, so it's out March
Yeah.
2026. Again, it's another book that's been a long time coming.
That's
Um,
so fun. That's so cool.
but yeah, it's dark and scary.
A fun place to hang out
Yeah,
sometimes.
exactly. Yeah.
So a question that I ask every single guest on every single episode is just talking me through some of the recent books that you've been reading and enjoying lately. That's part of what I talk about for
Hmm.
my own reading journey. But what are some books that you've been enjoying lately?
So I've been reading Delilah S. Dawson's run of novellas from Titan. There's one called Bloom, which is really good. And I'm in the middle of a one called House of Idle,
Okay, I love her.
which are really good. And like novella length is really cool because I mean you can do stuff in a novella which you can't do in a novel because like you kind of just finish the story.
Yeah.
And like she's really good at that. So it's got to a bit in House of Idle where it's gone very bad, which is perfect. Um, I've been reading a lot of manga actually.
Mm,
Um, it's kind of interesting. Like I kind of always not dismissed, but I've kind of like not really paid much attention to anime and manga. But I got hooked on Gundam because someone gave me a Gundam model kit. That's for people who don't know. That's the kind of the Japanese robot model kits,
I love
plastic
them.
model
I
kits.
love them.
Yeah, you see them everywhere at conventions and stuff. So I built it and I was like, oh, this is really cool because I think I like things like Lego and things.
Hmm.
So I thought, well, I may as well watch the anime and just see what I'm actually building so I understand it. And then I was like, oh, this is really good. So I kind of got hooked on that.
And there was no
And
turning
then,
back.
well, there's no turning back because I think for me as a writer, it's like and I can't, I need to look this up. There's not a format, but like there's a philosophy of Japanese storytelling
Mm.
in their tradition, which is different to the Western tradition. And for me, it like kind of turned the way I think about stories upside down because it's like, oh, you can do that and that. Um, and there is a particular name for it, and I will look it up and I'll probably post it on Blue Sky or something. But this is what got me hooked. So then from, anime and manga, so I'm kind of building up a collection of both. I've been
How
reading
fun.
My Name is Shingo, which is an 80s manga about a construction robot in a factory that develops sentience. It's like, which you're like, okay, but then it's like, this is really dark
Yeah.
and really like, I don't know what's going on. And it's got amazing artwork. Um, and I love what I've it's really discovered. I've loved this kind of slice of life genre, which is kind of like a soap opera, kind of like nothing happens, kind of chill. Um, but there's a manga called I'm gonna get this wrong, and I Hirayasumi, which is about just this guy that lives in a house. He gets given a house by an old lady who dies. Um, and like anime, like Yuru Camp, or what's called Laid Back Camp in English,
Okay.
which is just about some high school girls that go camping. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. That
Love
is
it.
it.
That's awesome. Love it.
So yeah, so things like that. So it makes a
Cool.
change from Darth Vader.
Yeah. That's awesome. Um, well, I know the year is winding down. Most of the conventions are behind us, but are there any events or conventions in the future that fans of yours can maybe keep an eye out that they might be able to interact with you at, or any plans for 2026?
Yeah, I'm probably at things like San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con, which I was at New York this year, which was
Hmm.
really, really cool. I mean, if we look forward ahead, we've got the big 50th anniversary of Star
Oh,
Wars,
yes.
which is going to be Celebration Los Angeles.
I
It's
will
like,
see you there. Yes.
I'm going to be there. Like, how can you not go to
I
that?
know. Yes.
Start saving your pennies now. My
I know,
goodness.
right?
It's going to be such a, I mean, yeah, Star Wars Celebration is really unique.
It's so fun. Yeah.
It's like New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con, except it's just about Star Wars.
But better. Yeah.
It's like it is all Star Wars.
Yes.
So yeah, so I do the big shows like that.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
which because
really
they're
fun.
fun. Like I'm also because like I'm a reader and a collector and
Yeah.
I love Lego and toys and I'm
As we
just like
all
such
are.
the cliche. Well, we're so cliched, aren't we? It's like gotta collect my Transformers toys,
Yeah.
which I can afford now because I'm an adult.
Exactly.
I
I
can
mean,
decide to buy what I want. Thank you.
hey, yeah, you are. That's why I love talking to it. There's the conversations with authors aren't different from the ones I just talk about with my friends or fellow
Yeah,
content people. We're all
yeah,
it's all the same. We're all
yeah,
just I love it.
yeah. It's all yeah, it's all good stuff.
Exactly. Well, Adam, if people want to engage with you more online, I know you mentioned Blue Sky. Where else can people find you online?
Yeah, so I think Instagram, which is Adam Christopher Writer, and then Blue Sky, which is adamchristopher.me, are the two places I tend to hang out. So yeah,
Excellent.
you can find me.
Excellent. Well, happy publication day. I am so excited that
Um,
Master of Evil is out in the world. Congratulations again.
Thank you very
Like I said,
much.
I'd love to have you. Maybe we can come back on and talk about Crawl Space and then have a spoiler-filled conversation about Master of Evil. How
Oh,
about that?
that would be fun actually. Yeah. Well, finally to be able to talk about something and like just go wild on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not worry.
Well,
Yeah.
let's plan on that. Well, thanks again for
Okay.
being here. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you very much.
I want to say a huge thanks once again to Random House Worlds and Adam for joining me on today's episode. I'm going to hold him to his word and have a spoiler-filled chat with him, hopefully in early 2026 when I read his non-Star Wars book that comes out, and then come back because there's so much that we wanted to talk about that we were skirting around spoilers for everyone, but I really think Master of Evil is something special, and like he said, it's kind of aligning with all of this anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, and if you've been reading, the re-release of Revenge of the Sith, it really just fits in nicely in this part of the timeline. Well, the end of the year is coming. There was only one more episode that I have on the docket for 2025. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I will catch you guys next time.